I'm John Manzella, and this is the Manzella Report. Here's what most people don't know. Since 1945, the U.S. just didn't participate in the global economic system. We built it, we designed it, and we ran it. And for 8 decades, we benefited from it more than any other nation on earth. Now, we're walking away from it. And that could be a historic mistake. Let me explain what we built and what we stand to lose. After World War II, the U.S. created a rules-based international order. It included the United Nations, the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, and what eventually became known as the World Trade Organization. The goal was simple: prevent another Great Depression, prevent another war, and create the conditions for shared growth and stability. And it worked. Here's what America gained. The US dollar became the world's reserve currency. That means the world does business in US dollars, which gives us incredibly cheap financing, enormous financial leverage, and the power to impose sanctions that no other country can match. We built over 750 military bases abroad that kept sea lanes open, turned former enemies like Germany and Japan into prosperous allies and consumers, and gave us unmatched global reach. And trade integration opened markets for American goods and services to 8 billion global consumers, not just 345 million Americans. And consider the fact that U.S. companies operating abroad actually produce and sell more than twice the value of goods exported from the homeland. And this all led to the U.S. to become the most attractive destination for foreign direct investment. And not only did we benefit, but nations all over the world benefited. In fact, the World Bank estimates that since 1990, global trade lifted more than 1 billion people out of poverty, and American companies led the way. Now, what about China? China joined the World Trade Organization in 2001 and opened its markets to the world. But it also created real problems and didn't play by the rules. But here's the key question. Was the right response to blow up the entire international system, punishing allies and adversaries alike? Or was it to work with our allies to confront China together? President Trump chose to go it alone. One of the factors was the imposing sweeping tariffs on Liberation Day, April 2nd, 2025, on both friends and foes alike. For example, he hit Vietnam harder than he hit China, the same Vietnam where American companies had relocated to avoid Chinese dependence. That's not strategy. That's the equivalent of throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And the consequences are already visible. A 2025 Politico survey found more than half of Europeans viewed Trump as an enemy of Europe. And a 2026 survey said many Europeans now see the U.S. as a bigger threat than China. Let that sink in a moment. Meanwhile, the European Union struck massive new free trade deals with South America and India, with more than 2 billion consumers, all without U.S. participation. Canada opened trade talks with China. New alliances are being formed. New rules are being written. And America is not at the table. The dollar, as a result, is weakening as a reserve currency as companies diversify into other assets like gold. And if this continues, American borrowing costs will rise. And that means higher costs for families, businesses, and the national debt. As Corey Shakey of the American Enterprise Institute put it, Alliances are America's superpower, and right now, we are dismantling them. The war with Iran, launched in February 2026, is a preview of what a world without order, or I should say, what a world without the old international order looks like. More unstable, more dangerous, and more costly. What must be done? We need to recommit to NATO and our alliances. We need to strengthen, not abandon the World Trade Organization. We need to pursue serious comprehensive trade agreements with major partners. And we need to complete the USMCA renewal and restore the independence of American institutions, starting with the Federal Reserve. I could go on, but most importantly, we need to recognize what we built. The international order wasn't a burden on America. It was America's greatest strategic achievement, designed by the U.S., run by the U.S., and enormously profitable for the U.S. The world is not waiting. New rules are being written, new alliances are being formed, and the question really is simple. Will the U.S. be at the table shaping what comes next, or will it be on the outside watching others write the rules? The choice and the consequences are ours. For a detailed analysis on this topic, read my article in Fair Observer magazine or visit the Manzella report. Thank you.